Hi everyone, I'm Jenna, and today I'm going to introduce the newest K-pop group, AllDayProject. On June 23rd, 2025, the K-pop coed group AllDayProject officially debuted. But this wasn't just any debut. Their pre-release track Famous hit #1 on YouTube trending lists right away and reached millions of views within 2 days. Then came Wicked, their second title track. Just 4 days after release, it topped the Melon chart. That was 2 months ago, and they're still holding a strong position at the top of the Korean music charts. In today's industry, even rookies from the major labels rarely see this kind of momentum. AllDayProject made a powerful entrance, visually, musically, and culturally. It's also a coed group, which is rare in the K-pop scenes these days. Even more intriguing, it's produced by Teddy of Theblacklabel. A coed group backed by K-pop's most legendary producers is enough to turn heads without relying on flashy controversy or gimmicks. Let's break down why AllDayProject is standing out from the crowds. Coed groups have become a rarity in the K-pop world. Groups like Rolla, Shop, and Coed School had their moments in earlier decades, but many eventually unraveled due to scandals, internal conflicts, and dating rumors. Triple H, although a project unit, also faced similar issues, ending their run after controversies surrounding relationships and friction with their label. Still, it's not that there's no demand for coed groups. Songs like 3-4, Sweetie, and Too Late became hits, and A Cup of Coffee remains a nostalgic favorite to this day. Traditionally, most coed groups kept a balanced gender ratio, usually an even split between male and female members. Rolla, Shop, and Coed School all followed that pattern. AllDayProject, though, takes a different approach. With 2 male members and 3 female members, their 5-person lineup breaks away from the usual format. It's not entirely new. Youngtuk's Club had a similar setup back in 1996 with 3 women and 2 men. But it's still uncommon, which makes AllDayProject's structure feel especially refreshing in today's K-pop scene. Before AllDayProject, the go-to name for coed K-pop groups was definitely coed. They're still active today, and while they share the coed format with AllDayProject, there are some clear differences in strategy. Coed is often cited as a textbook example of localization strategy in K-pop. From the moment they debuted, they focused almost entirely on overseas markets, especially Latin America. Their music leaned heavily into dancehall and featured Memuento beats in almost every track. The male-female pairing and rhythmic, danceable sound resonated well with Latin pop fans. They also gained traction by performing covers of well-known Latin hits, helping to build a solid international fan base. But back in Korea, things were relatively quiet. Their activities centered around international tours and festivals rather than music shows or variety programs in Korea. As a result, their domestic impact wasn't as strong. In contrast, AllDayProject is taking a very different route. They've been highly visible in Korea, appearing on variety shows like The Manager, performing on major stages like SBS music festivals, and doing radios and interview rounds, and often appearing on YouTube content as well. They're clearly focusing on building a domestic fan base first. That said, they seem more than ready for global expansion down the line. Several members are from overseas, most speak English fluently, and of course the group is backed by Theblacklabel with Teddy as their main producer. Even the name AllDayProject reportedly came from will.i.am, who said the members reminded him of the phrase all day. That little detail alone hints at ambitions far beyond the Korean market. Another similarity between the two groups is their age range. All the members are in their 20s, which is somewhat unusual in the K-pop idol world. Most boy groups and girl groups debut young, often in their teens, since fandoms tend to form along gender lines and youth is seen as an advantage for longevity. But coed groups operate differently. Their fan base is more diverse and less gender dependent, especially in international markets. In that context, age matters less than charisma, skill, and performance power. And honestly, being in their 20s might actually work in their favor, especially when appealing to a global audience that values maturity and presence on stage. From the very beginning, AllDayProject introduced themselves with the slogan, a creative experiment that breaks all boundaries. And that mindset definitely shows in their music. Let's start with their pre-release track, Famous. The song carries the ambition of a rookie, still relatively unknown but already turning heads. Sonically, it's driven by a heavy synth bass and gritty guitar riffs layered under low-toned rap and a smooth flow. Rather than pushing the energy full force, it pulls back just enough to feel polished and self-aware. One of the most memorable parts is the recurring line in the intro and outro. It's delivered in this half-spoken, melodic style that makes it feel more personal and intimate, almost like a conversation set to music. Then there's Wicked, the second title track. The name itself is interesting. In slang, wicked used to have a negative meaning, but these days it often means sick or crazy good. That contradiction plays into the song's vibe, intense, rhythmic, and totally addictive. Genre-wise, it's a bit of a cocktail. There are elements of Brazilian funk, trap, R&B, and drill, all blended together in this chaotic but oddly satisfying way. It's not the kind of track you fully digest on first listen, and that's part of its charm. The hook repeats the word wicked over and over, writing a beat that feels strangely familiar yet fresh at the same time. When I first heard it, it instantly reminded me of the vibe in Like Jenny. Jenny. Cause we wicked. Not identical, but that glossy, textured beat, very much in the same universe. Both tracks share something in common. They don't go for big high notes or densely packed lyrics. Instead, they let the groove breathe. There's space, restraint, and a kind of effortless confidence that makes the whole thing feel modern and cool. Take Wicked, for example. The chorus is built on a simple 808 bass line with quick, minimal lines like take your shot, photo shoot. Lights, camera, action. Take your shot. Photo shoot. Photo shoot. Take your shot. Photo shoot. Just snap it, flick it. It's sparse but catchy, and that's what makes it work. Now, this album doesn't feature any Memuento beats, but honestly, when you think of Memuento in K-pop, you think of Teddy. Most of Blackpink's big hits build up to that signature Memuento style drop, so it wouldn't be surprising if AllDayProject leaned into that sound in future releases. Personally, I wouldn't be shocked if a Memuento-based track takes them to the Billboard charts someday. What's drawing attention to AllDayProject isn't just the music or the production. Each member's background adds a unique layer of intrigue. They all come from completely different paths, which makes getting to know them even more interesting. Let's start with the most talked about member, Annie. She made headlines even before debut. Annie is the daughter of Jung Yu-kyung, president of Shinsegae department store, and the granddaughter of Lee Myung-hee, the chairwoman of the Shinsegae group. Her chaebol background naturally generated buzz around the group. But what's notable is that she didn't rely on a family name alone. If she lacked skill or stage presence, the public probably would have written her off as someone who debuted through connections. Instead, she's proven herself on stage with solid performance skills and a commanding presence that holds its own. Then there's Woo-chan. If you're into Korean hip-hop, his name might ring a bell. He was the youngest contestant on Show Me the Money Season 6, and he caught a lot of attention at the time. There's even a famous diss line from Woo Won-jae that people still remember. 우찬아 걱정 마 울어도 돼 사실 산타는 없거든. Yes, that Woo-chan. He was young back then, and you could sense his potential even if it wasn't fully refined. Watching him now, he clearly grew into his artistry. Next is Tarzan, and yes, the name is as bold as it sounds. He comes from a background in contemporary dance, which really shows in his movement. His lines, his control, the way he uses his body, it's less idle choreography and more artistic performance. You can tell immediately that he was trained differently. Youngso is another standout. She used to be a trainee at Source Music, and at one point she was even set to debut with Islet. That didn't pan out, but now she's carving out her own path through AllDayProject, and it feels like a better fit for her unique energy. And finally, there's Bailey. She's originally from the United States and worked as a professional dancer and choreographer before becoming an idol. In fact, she was already well known in the industry for her dance skills. Her energy on stage is electric, and the way she interprets choreography down to the smallest details really sets her apart. She's not just a dancer either. She can rap and sing, making her a true all-rounder. Together, these 5 members bring very different strengths to the table. Their backgrounds, styles, and personalities don't blend into a single mold. Instead, they bounce off each other really dynamic ways. Even within the framework of a co-ed group, AllDayProject stands out because every member holds a distinct role and none of them fade into the background. When we talk about AllDayProject, we absolutely have to talk about Teddy. Once known as YG Entertainment's signature producer, Teddy is now the head of his own independent label, Theblacklabel. He's the genius behind countless K-pop hits for groups like Blackpink, 2NE1, and Big Bang. Theblacklabel firstly introduced the girl group Memuento, and shortly after, AllDayProject made their debut. A co-ed group produced by Teddy was something no one really saw coming. But just the fact that it was a co-ed group with Teddy at the helm was more than enough to spark buzz, even without the added intrigue of a Chaebol Harris in the lineup. It didn't need noise marketing, the concept itself had impact. Inside YG, Teddy is often referred to as Teppe님, a nickname that blends respect and familiarity. It means Teddy producer. As a longtime fan, I've watched tons of his interviews and behind-the-scenes clips over the years. He's always shown more of a passion for producing girl groups than boy groups, and you can really hear that in his discography. 2NE1 and Blackpink both carry that unmistakable Teddy signature sound, hard-hitting, stylish, and emotionally textured. So when Baby Monster debuted under YG without Teddy's involvement, a lot of fans, including myself, were quite a bit disappointed. I was actually working as an A&R at YG Entertainment right around that time, and every time I reviewed internal materials, it really sank in. Teddy wasn't part of this project, I knew it. Honestly, my personal excitement for Baby Monster dropped quite a bit after that. Then came Meow from Theblacklabel, and right after AllDayProject, and suddenly Teddy was back with music that felt bold, fresh, and unmistakably his. The fact that he took on a co-ed group, something so rare and risky in K-pop, made the return even more impactful. Teddy's reputation as a producer and songwriter is already well established in the industry, and he's not slowing down. He recently contributed to the songs from K-pop Demon Hunters, working on the track like Golden, once again showing how far his reach still extends. At this point, Theblacklabel isn't just some side label, it's shaping up to be a core player in the next era of K-pop. There was a time I'd jokingly say, if Theblacklabel ever goes public, I'm buying stock. But seeing the way things are going lately, that joke might actually turn into reality. These days, there's even talk in the industry that AllDayProject marks the beginning of the K-pop's 5th generation. Their success could open the door for the other labels to explore co-ed group formats again. We're entering a phase where the old rules might not apply anymore. So the question now is, where does K-pop go from here? And what new experiments will Teddy and Theblacklabel bring to the table next? Whatever it is, one thing's for sure, it's going to be worth watching.